Now, did you inspect the property before you acquired the freehold?
Yes, I did. So before buying it, I went in at summer before the students moved in. And
That's important. Before the students moved in.
Yeah.
You have effectively 4 parts of your case, and I'm going to set them out. The first is that this group, and there may have been others, but this group did damage to the property that you inherited.
Absolutely.
So much so that you're suing them to put it right.
Yeah.
The second is for outstanding rent in respect of at least 2 of the tenants.
Yes.
The third is for some issues with very expensive keys.
Yeah.
And the fourth is because you've lost money as a result of the time it's taken to rent it to new prospective students, correct?
Correct.
That's your 4-case point.
Absolutely.
Understood. I'm going to start with the first one, which is damage to the property.
Yes.
And I asked you whether you inspected this student house before any students moved in, and you said yes. And what's more, Judge Rinder, I've got evidence.
Yeah.
Let me see it.
We also have the inventory that's been signed by the students stating what state everything was in.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. Now, does that look like the flat from memory that you inherited?
No. Yes.
Sorry? Well, you're saying yes and she's shaking her head.
It's not.
Well, I'm going to go one by one. Don't look at each other. I want yes or no or ish from each and every one of you. Right, you first. Ish. What's wrong with it?
Well, it looks too clean to what we inherited. It's just...
Next, Vicky.
Ish.
I wouldn't say so. I've seen them photos were, I think, taken way before, like, the previous tenants before us, so... Yeah.
Agree with that, both of you on the end?
Yeah, I agree with that.
These photos don't help me. These are the shiny little photos that they take to say how lovely it all looks. That's why they're telling me ish, and I believe them. Of course, it didn't look as lovely as all that, but I suspect it was perfectly clean. Not only was there the smell, but you were worried about this boiler as well. Did you get environmental health in?
Yes, because it wasn't just the boiler, the electrics. We were without electric. It kept tripping. So one issue kept going on to different types of issues.
You got an environmental health, very sensible, madam. And they came back, as I understand it, with a report. What else was in the house? As I understand it, you had some unwanted guests.
Rodents, because we had an opening at the kitchen, and obviously where there's blocked sewage, there's invited rodents coming into the kitchen, leaking from the back and the front of the house at this point. So the snails were just swimming into the kitchen.
Swimming
basically.
snails?
Well, it's all wet. They were loving it. They were having more fun than we were.
It's a picture of one of your guests. Now, you've got a report from Environmental Health. It says a number of things. There is a missing garden fence making the house unsuitable for occupation as a family house. That is what's called a Category 1 hazard. This is very important. The present boiler setup is still not working correctly, and there is a lack of a constant supply of water. This is a Category 1 hazard. There was no observed potable, that means drinkable water. That is a serious Category 1 hazard. There is penetrating damp to the property, to both the front and rear elevations, and there are problems with the thermostatic controls. That's a Category 2 hazard. I'm worried about the Category 1 hazards. Now, sir, do you know in law what a Category 1 hazard is?
No.
Would you like to find out?
I would.
According to the relevant Housing Act, a Category 1 hazard is a hazard that poses serious threat to the health or safety of people living in or visiting your home. You have a family, sir?
I have.
Would you put your family in a house with Category 1 hazards?
If I know that one, no, I won't.
According to you, and the spreadsheet that's yours on the left-hand side, he paid, along with his wife, £3,700.
Yes, Judge.
Which leaves an arrear of £1,102.
Yes, Judge.
Understood. Over the total period that he was there, they paid fairly regularly. And on one occasion, which I want to be clear, you do not dispute, you received a substantial sum in cash of about £800. Is that right?
Yes, Judge.
Was that in one or two tranches?
That was in one go. He came to my business premises and paid cash, him and his wife.
Is that correct?
Yes, Judge.
Now, here's the thing.
Yeah.
Each month, there's £400.
Yes.
You're claiming £98 per week.
I questioned him 3 times on that.
Well, you may have done. My difficulty, madam, is if you accept £98 a week, £400 is not right.
It is, which I told him.
It's a little bit more you're entitled to because there's more...
Yes.
Wait, please.
Sorry.
There's more than 4 weeks in a month. When you first accepted £400, why did you not notify them straight away? I'm really sorry. It isn't £400. You owe me, it's not substantially more, but you owe me a little bit more. Why didn't you give them notice at that point?
I did, in a text message to say Stephen had difficulties obtaining his money and his rent from whichever government body he was getting the money. I said I was willing to wait because I know what the government payment system's like. I was prepared to wait.
Universal credits pay on a monthly basis. And
It's not my problem.
Why, on every occasion that I paid that £400, has she not come to me and said, sorry, Stephen, you owe me more, or...
What evidence do you have that that's not
I have
correct?
text messages to say it is £98 per week.
There you are. It would
Yes.
be worked out £98 per
Yes.
week when you moved in, minus the money paid, just got to count it. Now, let's go back to the spreadsheets. Thank you very much. Why do you not owe £1,102, sir?
Just obviously going off what the £400 was per month. Like I say, I didn't dispute that. I missed July, which is why I was paying the extra £50 per month.
What date did you actually move out?
It was the...
Towards the 20th of October?
Yes.
Why didn't I get my keys back till the 25th?
When did you give notice that you were going to leave the property?
In the September.
Is that correct?
No, I have had no notice whatsoever.
What do you say that you do owe, sir?
Basically, £300.
What about November when he moved in and I never got any back payment?
What's the date this tenancy agreement is signed? The 20th of November?
Yes.
Are you telling me that he should backdate the payment on the 20th of November when
Yeah,
he
if
signed?
he moved in the 20th of November,
He should pay for the whole... Talking, he should pay for the whole of November?
No, from the 20th of November.
The week?
Yes.
I presume that that represents... Well, I'll ask you, Stephen, that £800 that you gave in cash, was that for the month of December and February?
There was a payment made in December to her of £400. I went up to the shop and paid that.
Have you got any proof you did?
No, I haven't got any proof. No.
Well, then have you paid it then?
Yes, I did prove it. I've got proof. Florence.
Don't come and sit here.
You can have a go. I won't look as good.
You're receiving rent which is different from the amount on the legal document, which has subsequently been negotiated and accepted. This gentleman here says it's £400 a month. You say, no, it was always a weekly basis. How am I to come to a conclusion about that? When you've accepted over a long period of time, by any standard, £400 roughly a month?
I questioned him on 3 occasions.
In respect of the £150 deposit, you're absolutely entitled to that money back. There was nothing in writing that said you had to give a notice period. That money was due the instant that you left the house, subject to you leaving the house in decent order, and I have absolutely no reason to believe that you left it in anything other than a decent state. In respect of the furniture that you left in the house, it was up to Janet to take decent care of it, to give you an opportunity to take it away, or to give it back to you in a decent condition. She hasn't done that. You're entitled to the value of that mattress. That's £100. The value of those two things are £250. Your total claim is for £850. The difficult part of your claim is your application for £600, which is for unpaid personal loans. I absolutely accept, and I want to be clear about this, that you lent Janet that money. In other words, you expected the money to come back. It was not, as far as you were concerned, a gift. I'm certain of that. However, as a matter of law, at the time you extended Janet that credit, you were a friend of hers. And when you're a friend of somebody as a matter of law, the courts assume that you don't intend to take one another before a judge in the event the other person doesn't pay the money back. There's no intention to create legal relations. And consequently, you don't have an enforceable agreement in law against Janet for that money. The way that you rebut that presumption, the way that you make it legal, is by putting it in writing. Sadly, because you don't have a formal contract with Janet, I'm afraid, in respect of the £600, there is nothing this court or any other court of law can do for you. You simply have to rely on Janet's honesty in due course and on her goodwill and on the fact that she has made a clear promise to pay you. That's your first port of call. The next is to ask Janet to put it in writing when she leaves this court. And if she does, and if she doesn't pay you within the specified period of that document, you may wish to bring the claim back. Understood?
Understood.
Sadly, I have to dismiss your claim for £600 because it's not enforceable. Madam, you have a counterclaim for £240 for unpaid rent and £40 for unpaid bills. You have no evidence of the rent that was unpaid or the bills that were unpaid, except this wholly useless calendar. Because you have no supporting evidence, I dismiss your application out of hand. £250.
Jodie was partly successful and was awarded £250 of her original claim. Defendant Janet's counterclaim was dismissed. Let's find out how both parties felt about their day in court.
I would like a pen so I can get her to sign it right now, please.
I'm not signing it.
In
Not
front of
after
these
what the
witnesses.
stress.
There we go, look. Be the decent person
You lie
just for
in
once.
Of all,
No,
you've dragged
you are
me
right. No,
here,
I have
so you
tried
can go and
to
whistle.
speak to you and
You
to
can go and
speak to you.
whistle.
She's a horrible person. That is the real her. It came out in the end.
This is the real
This
Janet.
is the real her.
This is the Janet that's just had enough of your guys.
Yeah.
I don't ever want to see Jodie or David ever again.
Don't be stupid. Stay and watch the best Judge Rinder moments. And I'm talking. Understood? Don't be a moron. Subscribe to Judge Rinder YouTube channel. Right now. That's an order.